All right. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to uh, Poetry Superhighway Live. I had to remember what it is I was doing for a second. Um, Great to have you all here. My name is Rick Lupert. I'm your MC for this open reading afternoon of poetry. If you exist in a part of the world where it's actually not afternoon, my apologies for my time zone centric language, and if you don't feel included as a result of it. This is one of the issues of doing something on the internet that's open to the entire world. Most importantly, you are welcome to be here, and I'm happy to have you. If you would like to participate in today's reading and you haven't already done so, send me a message in the chat, and I will be happy to add you. If you sent an email in advance, I've already got you on the list, and you are good to go. Having said all that, the way it's going to work is everyone gets to read one poem, and then we'll talk with you a little bit about what is going on in your poetry world. If you've got something you want to share, some interesting news, a publication, an opportunity, anything of that nature, then that's the chance that you'll have to do that. And that's it. That's how it works. Up first in a moment will be Isabell. Before we get to that, I want to mention a couple things going on in Poetry Superhighway land. Thing number one, it is April, National Poetry Month. Happy National Poetry Month, everybody. Again, that's sort of America centric. I don't know that other countries also have their National Poetry Month in April. But you're welcome to join in with ours as far as I'm concerned as well. So what we're doing, what Poetry Superhighway is doing, which we've done for a number of years, is we are posting a poetry writing prompt every single day on our website as well as on our Facebook page. All of these prompts were submitted by Poetry Superhighway readers. So it's kind of an exclusive and wide sensibility of the kinds of writing ideas which are being presented this month. Again, you can see them on our website if you go to poetrysuperhighway.com/PSH. On the upper right hand corner below the header, you can see the prompt for that day. It changes at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern for the next day. So you can see click on it, see what it is, see if it gets you interested in writing something. And also in our Facebook group, the prompts are posted there. And if you happen to be on Facebook and if you happen to write something for one of the prompts, you're invited to to post as a comment the poem that you wrote for that prompt. A lot of people have been doing that since we started at the beginning of the month. And so there's some cool interaction. It's cool for the people who wrote the prompts themselves to see that people are actually writing to them, and it's a great chance for you to see what other people are doing as well. So this is the way that we participate in National Poetry Month, to give you the opportunity to do NaPoWriMo, write a poem a day if you choose, or whenever, as many as you would like. One po every other day. Oh, I don't know what the right abbreviation for that one is, but there you go. Also, one another thing that we do every year, and this is the 28th year that this has happened, is around Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day, which happens to be this Tuesday, Tuesday of this coming week. We've published a special issue expanding well beyond the two poets we typically publish each week for Poets of the Week. Almost everyone who submits a poem gets up in this special issue because it just seems that important. All people responding to the Holocaust, to the events of the Holocaust, to what it's like living today, so many years after it, when there are different kinds of parallels happening, just thinking about it. So that issue is up now. 96 poets are included. You can read it now on the Poetry Superhighway website, and I hope that you will do. And the most important part a lesson that we learn from that time is to never forget that it happened. So hopefully it will never happen again. And gosh, you look at the news and uh, there's really no guarantees, is there? So check that out. We're going to keep doing that as long as I'm alive. There you go. When I do pass away sometime, I assume the Poetry Superhighway will just disappear from the face of the planet unless I can convince my son to keep it going, but I'm not sure that he's all that interested. So we'll see. I've got a lot more years in you, so this is going to keep going. Anyway, this just got really dark. I apologize. May we all live forever. That's the plan anyway. So, to our open reading, again, if you would like to read and you haven't already, let me know. Please send a message in the chat and I'll be happy to add you one poem and a little bit of conversation. Eric Paul Shaffer, you are going to be on deck. Please welcome our first reader, Isabell VanMerlin. Hello, Elizabeth. Isabell.
Hi, Rick, and everybody. I did not submit to the Holocaust, but this is my thoughts along those lines. It's called Eracism, a prose poem. I was about 5, growing up in a small town in South Carolina, when sitting in the back seat of our car with my grandmother, parked by a park near the center of town, waiting for my mother, I exclaimed about the black woman coming towards us on the sidewalk with a huge bundle of laundry on her head. Granny, look at that lady with all the laundry on her head. And my grandmother very carefully, softly, and gently told me, you don't call a Negro woman a lady in the South. And I knew exactly what she was trying to tell me. She was not a racist. I didn't hear the N word till first grade. I had just gotten my driver's license at 14 in South Carolina, taking our maid's daughter home to the other side of town. She had come to work in her mother's place, her mother being ill that afternoon. And I said to her, sit up front with me, Helen, being embarrassed at having a contemporary sit in the back seat while I drove. She very reluctantly did. And as we approached the same place, now that I think about it, by the park in our small town where I had seen the laundress 9 years before, a white trash boy on the sidewalk said, I wouldn't have a sit in the front seat of my car. Burning with rage and shame, I could only say, I'm sorry, Helen, when I reached her home. I had just turned 18 and was walking across campus in Memphis when the guy I was dating ran up to me and said, JFK has been shot. I was a sophomore in 1963. I heard a lot while going to college in far-right Memphis about racism and civil rights, a few of my classmates getting involved. A lot of my classmates were from the Deep South. 4 years later, Martin Luther King Jr. was shot in Memphis on April 4th, 1968. I'll always remember that date because my dad died in his own plane crash on April 4th, 1959. He wasn't a racist. I was in California in 1968, about to graduate from UC Berkeley. I had learned a whole lot more about politics, government, Vietnam, racism, about racism in California that was extended to a lot more than Black people. Indigenous, Chinese, Filipinos, Indians, Japanese, Vietnamese, Mexicans whose country was California till we stole it, and all those other foreigners that should have stayed over there, wherever that is, and I had no idea, not growing up with them, that people were afraid of colors and sounds of humans that weren't like theirs. My mother suffered in the South, being a Yankee. She wasn't a racist. Has our society done anything to a racism? Not a damn thing.
Thank you, Isabel. A good piece, strongly read, important message as well. Thanks for sharing it with us. What's happening with you and poetry? Oh, let me unmute you again. There we
Okay,
go.
sorry. Um, well, I have self-published a memoir written in the third person and under a pseudonym that's an anagram of my name. And it's the pseudonym, which I love, is Abel Marlin Snivel, because I love to snivel in my poetry. And I've been writing a lot. I'm working on a book for one of my students who's written stories, some stories, and illustrating them. And so I just seem to be busy writing a lot. I do a lot of Zooms and I love it. And I really appreciate these these meetings because where I live now in Oroville, California, I haven't discovered any local poetry. So you are well appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Isabel. Glad you're finding value in this experience, and I hope you keep coming back. Thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for our first reader, Isabell VanMerlin. On deck, Rosemary Boehm. Please welcome Eric Paul Shaffer. Hi, Eric.
Aloha, everyone. I hope you're doing well today. I'd like to read the first poem from my next book of poems, which is called Second Nature. This poem is called Field Trips. I was not only a little in love with Miss Nichols, so when one day she told us Robert Kennedy and his wife Ethel were her friends, I wanted to believe her, but I wasn't sure. I was nobody, and she taught sixth grade in the cinder block school beyond the borders of the district. So how could she be anybody? Yet Kennedy was a name in history and news, and from my window, I could see the dome of the Capitol and the pale needle of the Washington Monument. I knew we lived close to power, but I thought the voltage flowed through webs above our heads on poles in black wires, stitching the suburbs to the light. The rowdy class challenged her, so we marched broad halls to the phone in the principal's office. She spun the dial and handed me the black receiver. "This is my friend Ethel Kennedy," said Miss Nichols, and I said, "Hello." "Hello, what's your name?" I told her. She asked, "What are you studying in school?" And I answered her as I answered my parents. "Nothing." There was silence. She wasn't as pleased as my parents. There was no more to say, so I returned the phone to my teacher. She patted my hand and smiled. Later, she arranged for us to meet Robert Kennedy in the Attorney General's office. He was loud, a small, jovial man in a large room. But what I remember most was the ruddiness of his complexion and a loose thread on his sleeve. Our homework was to scour the newspaper for a serious question to ask the man Miss Nichols called Bobby. So as a token of my love for her, I gathered my courage and raised my voice. "What do you think of President Johnson's war on poetry?" And he saw me for that one moment. He spoke encouraging words I wish I remembered now. At the door, he shook each of our hands. My hand. Maybe it was Miss Nichols, too, who took us. Oops, lost track of that. Hold on. I've lost my next page. Who took us on a field trip to the US Mint, where we watched green ink and linen become the currency of our nation. The man at the Mint held $10,000 over our heads and let us each hold the bill for a moment. The paper was stiff and new, ridged with green, the fingerprint of wealth in one open palm. I wonder now at all of the silliness we believe of the past. Hope and questions of why not or why are for the future. And we forget that fate is an illusion born of looking back. No fate elected, I would witness flames rising between America's needle and thimble and me, but I did. In those elementary days, I was not fated to become as inarticulate as my dull response to Ethel Kennedy on the phone. Bobby was not fated to be shot by a misguided man whose fame I refused to speak, nor was I fated to grow as rich as briefly holding a $10,000 bill in the 60s seemed to promise. And never were we fated to hold whatever now fills our hands.
Wow, what a great experience, Eric. So cool to hear about that. Someday I'm going to shake your hand and it will transfer to me somehow, I think. I'm not sure.
I look
Uh,
forward to it.
yes. What's happening with you in poems?
Well, yesterday was our National Poetry Month reading. My friend Derek Otsuji and I read downtown in Honolulu to celebrate. And we both he read from his book, The Kitchen of Small Hours, and I read from Second Nature and Green Leaves, which are pretty much my last two books. And so that was really, really fun. And I'm still working slowly with my publisher to get the manuscript put together. In fact, the other day he said, well, maybe we should add some notes to this book, or maybe I said that. I can't remember which. But he said, go ahead. And then I wrote 5 pages of notes that now have to be added to the book. So don't ever say I have not enough words. If you ask, they will come forth in a huge stream. At any rate, hopefully that book will be out by June, by my birthday.
Well, that'll be a nice present for you, and that's cool. Good experience as well. Notes, they're the best, and they only make us better. So there you go. Eric, thanks for being here today.
And thank you. And I look forward to all the poems of all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, round of applause for Eric Paul Schaefer. Thank you, Eric. Aloha. On deck, Bhavin Sheth. Please welcome Rosemary Boehm. Hello, Rosemary.
Okay, I have a poem to read that actually wrote itself just about a few days ago, because I got this very either autocorrected or not autocorrected message that I didn't quite understand. And the message was, Joe, at your feeling this morning. How can I interpret this autocorrected or not message in my inbox this morning? I don't know any Joe, and as far as I know, he didn't eat my feeling. In fact, my feeling this morning was somewhat subdued by my anxiety about a seemingly unavoidable nuclear strike on a country with 90 million inhabitants who, to my knowledge, have done nothing to deserve obliteration. And then my feeling convulsed when I thought about the consequences for the rest of us, about a war we have been able to avoid for about 80 years, because no one elected a mad mafia boss with dementia and sociopathic tendencies as their president. So please, Joe, come and eat my feeling, because it's all too much to bear.
Wow. I love the idea of the poem writing itself. That would save a whole lot of time, I think, for all of us. But that's very cool that that came so quickly. Rose, that was fun. Thanks for sharing it. What's happening with you?
Muted. Ah, yeah, here we go. Um, I have nothing exciting to report except that I'm writing and publishing in online magazines. Obviously, there is a glut. You know, the stuff you sent out in 1982, and suddenly somebody decides that it's time to publish it. And my new collection of a big full-length collection is slated for publishing end 26, maybe beginning 27. So I have that to look forward to, and I have a lot of poems I haven't had the courage yet to begin a manuscript with.
Well, that's yeah. I mean, I can't imagine poems from 1982 just now getting accepted, but that's
You
that's
know
pretty
what it
cool.
is like.
I'd love that experience, but why not? That's like, throwing a bottle in the ocean and, like 50 years later, someone picks it up and
It
sends you
feels
an
like
email.
that.
Hey, I have your
It
bottle.
absolutely feels like that sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes turnaround times can be lengthy, but
Yes.
that's just if you keep track of it, you should be in good shape, I
Yeah.
think. All right, Rose, thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Rose Mary Boehm. On deck, Lawrence Berger. Please welcome Bhavin Sheth. Hello, Bhavin.
Hello, everybody. So this is a prose poem, continuing along the today's, I guess, tradition, titled "The Bench." Like any other street bench, a glaringly green slab of steel, until you trip on its leg and fall, as I do. When skin grazes sidewalk, one realizes the import of solid steel beneath the body. As benches go, it is stubbornly solid. A Google search reveals it to be a Charleston whose rosettes enhance its aesthetics and whose finish offers exceptional resiliency through many years of use. The knowledge offers between a scintilla and an iota of comfort. I imagine returning 20 years later and finding the bench none the worse for wear, perhaps with a new coat of burgundy, and still empty. Benches become interesting when someone sits on them. My wife and I do. The bench slowly warms beneath us. A late spring breeze inspires some canoodling. Adult passersby ignore PDAs. They were not born that way. An adorable child holding his nana's hand waves briskly at us with the other. Smiles are unfurled from erstwhile tightly pursed lips, and the hand-waving contagion spreads. Soon a jazz triad ensemble is unveiled to a sprawl of lawn chairs and blankies on a lawn of fake grass. The guitarist and lead is a white male, as is the keyboard, all ordinary enough. The drummer is a white woman. Something flips in my neural circuits. A should not have been, but somehow embarrassingly still is, surprise. The music is simpatico with the breeze, tranquilo y tranquila, as it slow dances in the spring air. The lead steps up to the mic, dedicating the next number to his mother. That endearing moment evolves to winsome when a woman in the crowd waves, triggering in him and by reflection in the audience, an unmistakable outpouring of joy. An anonymous black lady dressed in a flowy, not showy, red dress emerges from the audience, climbs the steps to the makeshift stage, and unsheathes a rich, stentorian voice, a monsoon after the afternoon breeze. Upon finishing, the good finish too soon, to thunderous cheers, the still anonymous crooner walks down the steps and blends back in with the hoi polloi, an enigma wrapping herself again in mystery. Perhaps wanting to ride in the slipstream of goodwill, the lead, who was content to play his guitar until now, belts out a song himself, an avant-garde, dissonant number that sends listeners reaching for the ears. The future is here, I tell my wife. I envy the young woman in short shorts and AirPods who walks past oblivious to the music. I get up to get us a gourmet paella and urge my wife to stay put and spread out so we retain territorial rights. She rolls her eyes. At that, she has improved greatly. Thanks to me. I return with the paella. The $11.99 I spent on the Sicilian pistachio flavor popsicle that we share. Not 50-50, but in a way an economist would admire. Seems a bit steep, though we keep licking as it keeps dripping. I never once taste the pistachio or smell the Sicilian. She assures me, I tasted it, didn't smell the Sicilian pistachio. The last lick brings the concert to a close. We unglue ourselves off the bench, leaving it to cool again. I believe when we return 20 days later, it will still be there, waiting. Thank you.
If there's any advice I could give Bhavin about anything, it would be the line from your poem, "Keep licking." It just seems important. Thank you for that piece. What a fun experience that you had there.
It's all
Thanks for
true,
sharing it for
actually.
us. Good. Very good. What's happening with you in poetry?
Well, like you said, I've kept on licking, and I've been writing a lot actually, but and I've just sent out a few poems to some journals, and just keeping my fingers crossed. And hopefully, I'll have better news one of these days. If you guys have all exciting stuff to share, one of these days, hopefully, I'll have something exciting to share.
Well, as we just learned, 1982 is just catching up to the submission log, so you'll hear from someone soon, I'm sure.
Right. I like that. Thank you.
Sure. Bhavin, thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Bhavin. Sheth. On deck, Jordan Jones. Please welcome Lawrence Berger. Hello, Lawrence.
Hello, Rick, and happy U.S. National Poetry Month. I have one that seems appropriate, but I'm not entirely sure. So I'm going to read it. It's out of my book, Word Dancing, the Instant Poetry Volume 3. So here we go. One line is all I have. One line and one line only. It only takes one line to catch a fish, and it's only the bottom line that matters in business these days. Set a course for the future. I'll follow my one line until it ends, or until there are no more words.
You've got me scared that we're running out of words. That they're leaving on a spaceship for another place. I don't know how we're going to communicate without them, but I guess we'll find a way.
Yeah.
Lawrence, thank you so much for that piece. Any poetry news to share?
Well, they did my play for the Wayne County Writers Guild last month, and I'm happy to report that the workshop on featuring that I mentioned the last time I was here went very well. And the book is out and ready to go. And I'm happy to be a poet.
That's great news. It's a great month to be a poet. So
Yeah.
glad that it's working for you. Well, Larry, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Rick.
All right, and glad the workshop went well as well. Round of applause for Lawrence Berger. On deck, Patrice Wilson. Please welcome Jordan Jones. Hello, Jordan.
Hello. Last month, Isabell read a poem with the line, "The Church of the Jelly Donut," which made me think of one of my poems, but I had already read that time, so I didn't get a chance to read this. So it is kind of strange to be reading a poem in response to something that was read a month ago, but this is in response to Isabell's poem of a month ago. And also to this, he shared a poem this time that talked about Yankees. So here you go, Uncle Woody. And it's set in Simi Valley, California, 1975. Technicolor spring turned rabid, while Uncle Woody, the visiting Texan, pruned the rose bushes as if they were his own. He searched out the canes with buds, gripped them firmly, then snip, snip, and into the barrel. No roses this year. Get me a glass of iced tea, will you? He asked 12-year-old me and wiped sweat from his forehead to forearm. One Sunday, while singing spiritedly, Woody noticed strange words in the songs, Yankee hymnals in the church. He leaned over to my mother. Did you know this is a Yankee church? Sure, and I'm a Yankee. For me, so long as Sunday school emptied out into spring sun and the promise of donuts, God, North and South meant nothing. But Woody was a Navy pilot from Peach Creek, West Virginia. He parked his car in our driveway the way he landed a jet on a carrier deck, full throttle, trusting the catch wires of the brakes. Once in the house, there was coffee for the adults, steaming ink black and chalky milk for the kids. The apple fritters were each big as both of Woody's fists, gnarled, brown with molasses sun. Woody was diabetic. He packed a syringe and disposable needles, cycled up and down in a routine just as flying had been, twice a week from Guam to Nam to drop mail into the jungle daily. From this, he would retire to Pan Am, cruise 747s into Narita from LAX, the payback for 3 wars of thunder in the air. How could he know his pancreas hid a different future? Even as it festered and the symptoms began, he wasn't sure. But in his discharge physical, Woody learned those dizzy spells would ground him. He begged the doctor not to write down diabetic, but the doctor laughed and said, "You can still fly Piper Cubs. Be a crop duster." In that instant, all the pilot magic drained from him. That spring, as the machinery of his body began to fail, he took control of what he could and butchered our roses.
I'm so sorry for the loss of your roses, but glad you came
Got
back
over it.
to respond to that poem from last month. I think a month is based on the timelines that we've established earlier in this event already. 1 month is like nothing.
It's instantaneous, isn't it?
It's the
Context.
blink. It's the half a blink of an eye. So very good. Any news to report on the poetry scene with you?
Well, I was hoping to tell y'all, as my uncle would have said, that my poems have appeared in the latest issue of Gargoyle magazine, but they were hacked, and so that's all delayed. So that should have been out in March, but they're still struggling to get that out. And I've been doing a fair amount of work on translations, and I've got now a local translation buddy who's also translating poems from French. And so we're kind of sharing things. We're in different centuries. So I'm translating 20th century poems and he's translating 19th century poems. But we are learning from each other. And I think that's really, really a good process.
I assume someday you'll make it to this century, and if you
Maybe.
don't, that's fine.
Yeah, the guy I'm translating didn't, so I won't be able to translate him. I'll have to find somebody who made it into this century.
There's a few out there, I think, but
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I've heard. Heard tale.
Very good. Well, Jordan, thank you for the follow-up. Thank you for coming back and being with us, and appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Jordan Jones. That reminds me, yeah, I was inspired by the Church of the Jelly Donut poem. As you might know, I work at a synagogue doing music, and over the last month, I've been transitioning from Jewish texts to donut-related songs with the kids. I feel like that's the direction we should be donutting and going in. Sorry. So your poetry has impact here, everyone. Climbing Sun, you are on deck. Please welcome our next reader, Patrice Wilson. Hello, Patrice.
Hello. I haven't been with you for a long time. I've been having some ups and downs, but it's all good. I'd like to read a recent poem called Tea Making. An electric heat boils the water, bubbles and churns it up and down in my clear glass kettle. I watch it play before it simmers down, observe the small arc of water as it enters my equally clear glass teapot. Small, dark floating tea leaves infuse amber color into liquid, brewing deeper shades. Warm brown liquid flows from the tip of a gently curved spout. Ah, now comes the full cup, that easy chair feeling, that tasty satisfaction.
Well, it's a tasty satisfaction to have you back with us, Patrice. It has been a while. I hope that you're here means that you are on having more ups than downs, and I hope it continues that way for you, so we can keep seeing you again and again. What's anything happening with poetry in you?
Well, I'm working on this poem is from a set of notes that I took between June 21 and October 21 of last year. And what I'm trying to do is be less compositional in my approach to writing poetry and more looking at everyday things that happen or that I do um, to sort of focus on those. I might call it my retirement style of poetry at this point. I'm also working on, there's an ongoing project I have called Twilight Rising. That's a poetry collection. And I've just handed it to one of my friends to look at. And that friend is with us here, Eric Paul Shaffer. And I've been accepted in the National League of American Pen Women here in Honolulu. That was back in 23. I'm now their secretary of the board. And that's pretty much it.
That's plenty. That's quite a lot of things. And I really appreciate the concept of just looking at the everyday things in your life and those perhaps being an inspiration for your poems. I think there's poetry in everything, and I think when you can take the mundane and make it spectacular through by elevating it in a poems and forcing us to look at it with a different eye, that's a really cool thing to do. So glad you're doing that, and especially glad that you're back with us. Thank you, Patrice.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, all of you.
Round of applause for Patrice Wilson. Two Hawaii poets with us, making us all jealous that we live wherever we live that isn't Hawaii. That's okay. Trish Hopkinson, you are on deck. Please welcome Climbing Sun. Hello, Climbing Sun.
Unmute. Okay. Yeah. Hello, Rick and everyone. I guess there's been a good bit of prose poems. This is another one. Although if this were broken up, it could be a more conventional poem, but it's not. And I wrote this when I still lived in California in about the 20th year of teaching junior high poetry. It was very inspiring to be around these young people. And this starts with an epigraph, Scream the Beauty, written by my mentor, Mort Marcus. It's called The Blush of Joy. Standard men will say, the blush of joy is merely an inflammation of the brain. But I've seen it on the faces of blue ducks in yellow forests in Asia. I've seen it during my pilgrimages to the shocking blossoms in Death Valley. I've seen it on the skins of people who harness the sun's gusto. On hikes through the clouds, I've seen the green teeth of the earth nibble on the sky's azure face. I've seen the eucalyptus, trunks like chocolate fiber, swaying against a tangerine sea backlit with light so jagged, some crazy queen must have dashed her mirror to the ground in jealousy on her way to explore the mountains of shadow. I felt the earth's lips tremble as she let out her untapped sorrow. I felt steel shoes crush her meadows and witnessed teenage trees sentenced into the fire. The world seems to be wobbling more than ever. Darkness has its fascinations, but this has not stopped me from hugging the rocks, has not stopped me from bathing in starlight showers, has not stopped me from sitting on a shore at midnight, drenched in the moon's almost eternal amber, has not stopped me from watching the water winking to the deer who pause at the pond. As I awaken to the soft sound of frost shimmering on the grass, to the sweet saltiness of aquamarine walls playing tag with me, to the display of that great fireball dancing onto a plum-colored horizon, my inner whisper declares again in full awe to creation, what an artist you are. Thank you.
Well done, Climbing Sun. A great piece. A strong ending as well. Thank you so much for sharing that. What's happening with you in poetry?
Well, my second memoir is at the publishers. My first one is called Sundances. It's all a bunch of synchronicities that happened, and there were many. And I realized a couple years ago I left out huge parts of my life. So I've written another memoir, phase 2 or whatever, called Sun at Play. And I've identified two kinds of play, perilous play and non-perilous play. And there are gluts of them in this next book. And my weekly poetry group here in Boca Raton, Florida, is having our biannual reading in 2 days. Probably about 30 poets taking over the library. So that's exciting. And that's about it, Rick.
That's quite a lot. It sounds like it'll be a great, I love the idea of taking over a library. Hopefully you won't burn it to the ground. You'll just stick to doing a reading there. And yeah, you put out a memoir and then like it turns out you live more life. You might as well, if that's the danger of having a biography or memoir and then continuing on, more things happen. But that sounds like a cool thing to be able to do and say. So great. And I'm so glad you were with us again today.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you, and everyone also.
Thank you, Climbing Sun. Round of applause for Boca Raton's only Climbing Sun. On deck, Scott Norman Rosenthal. Please welcome Trish Hopkinson. Hello, Trish.
Hello. Great to be here. Great to see everyone. Some awesome poems so far. This poem is from a series of poems that I've been writing after my mom's passing in January of 24. And they're all entitled Dear Judy. This one has an epigraph, and I literally finished writing it about 5 minutes before I jumped on the Zoom. So it's very, very new. Starts with an epigraph. A lot has happened since then or between those two moments, but the start and the end were human moments here on Earth. And that's Christina Koch, NASA astronaut. Dear Judy, you'd be devastated you missed Artemis, the first moonshot since Apollo, the first woman to journey around the moon. Christina Koch would be your hero. All you've both endured, you are my heroes. She survived outer space, you survived poverty, and survived by me, my siblings, all once poor. We learned how to rise above from you. We learned to shoot for the moon, your life, one turbulent, never-ending moonshot, without the slingshot benefit of free return. The moon's gravity was too much for you. Gravity held you, never to return. You missed Artemis, and I too am devastated.
Wow, Trish, it still has that new poem smell.
Yes, it does. It was a little first time I've read it out loud, obviously. So
I would hope so if you just wrote it a few minutes ago.
yes, I did. I
Also, I just
realized
want to.
I should have practiced, but go ahead.
No, that was perfect. I don't. This is practice. That's what open readings are.
Yes.
Um, Also, my son is named Jude, so I assume
Oh,
that that all of these poems are for him, and I'll let him know.
okay, that sounds great.
What's happening with you in poetry besides writing poems willy-nilly?
I've actually had two publications this month so far. One is, these Dear Judy poems are also all in duplex form. You might have noticed some of the repetition. One that I'm calling an extended duplex was published in Solstice yesterday. I'll share the link here. And then I also had one published on April 1st in Rogue Agent. And I have to share a story about this poem because I wrote this quite some time ago, and I've been submitting it because I just love the poem and believed in it. And once it got accepted, I went and looked how many times I had submitted it, and I had submitted it 77 times. So it's not from 1982, but obviously sometimes it takes a long time to get a poem published. So I threw those links in the chat
Yeah,
if anyone's
that's
interested.
such an important thing to reveal to people who are discouraged. We all get discouraged, when we don't get things accepted, and but the perseverance is a really important lesson to learn from. So, congrats on that. Well done.
Thank you. And then I'll just share, on my website, I share submission calls for no fee submissions, and there are several that I've posted so far this month, and some with deadlines at the end of this month. So if you're looking to send some poems out, hop over to trishhopkinson.com and check out some of those opportunities.
Yeah, and get on Trish's email list too. It's a great service for poets. Thank you so much for doing all that.
Of course.
Trish, always happy to hear from you and to hear your work. Looking forward to what you might write in the next 5 minutes. And thanks for being here. Round of applause for Trish Hopkinson. Thank you, Trish. Here's who I have on the list at this point. Just going to throw this out there so you know where you are. If there is anyone else here who would like to read and who didn't tell me that you wanted to read, you're welcome to do that just by sending a message in the chat. We have Scott Norman Rosenthal, Carla Joy Martin, Maggie, Seretta Martin, Daniel Lambert, and me. Send me a message if you'd like to be added to the list. Carla, you are on deck. Please welcome Scott Norman Rosenthal. Hello, Scott.
Hello. How much time do we have? How much time do I have to read?
You can read one poem.
Oh, one poem. Okay. Well, I'm going to read this one. This is called Pushing Back. 1. An acknowledgement for the folk of the Walk Away campaign. Gay, trans, black, white, people. Your courage flows, rumbles, past fences into homes. Poisoned children hear wind, rivers, rising away toward. Poisoned childhood, wasted life, I reach from nowhere. Gay baited, facts didn't matter, but for the spice of falsity. I didn't deny, I armed. Unchecked, bullying is tyranny, Silence is death. 2. Land acknowledgement. Respect, live. History is topography. Aztecs devouring, Lakota displacing. Nation, quote, nation follows nation. Regret is useless, end quote. This small space welcomes ghosts. Trembling cold, enervating heat. History is where we live, searching for home. All of us, quote, all of us come from someplace else, end quote. 3. On woke bigotry history. Once upon a time, Pam Africa reminded me, racism finds its own direction. Bigotries emerge, falseness easier than time. Deafening promises upraise us, if only we separate. We learn again what we've always seen. 4. Poisoning children. In white coats, in black masks, smashing windows, burning bridges. You live on roaring silence, not in our name. Dragons eat us all, breathe fire, life. 5. Addendum. Life is woven, knit. Paradox, compromise. Reality is relentless. The world is difficult. History isn't a nice place. Thank you.
Scott, thank you very much. Is there anything happening with you in poetry you want to share with us?
Well, I'm trying to get some computer issues straightened out. I can always use advice about how to try to format this thing. I don't want to go into the technicalities, but some of us who live on a very, very extreme margins of the economy have a lot of little problems creep up. But I want to put together a volume of poetry. You know, that's what I want to do.
Well, good luck to you in trying to make that happen. I hope you find the help that you're looking for. There's a lot of resources out there on the net on how to go about doing that, and a lot of free ways to do it as well. So good luck with that, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Scott Norman Rosenthal. On deck is Maggie. Please welcome now Carla Martin. Hello, Carla. Are you there, Carla? There you
There
are.
I am. Sorry, I couldn't get her to unmute. Okay, my poem was called Tonight I Became an Octopus. Awakened from a deep sleep by a wave of ocean brine, I swim up to the surface, my body radiating colors, blue-green for remorse, hot orange for anger, periwinkle for sadness, lavender for alone. Across my body, you can see the ripples of time and what the emotions have done to my soul. Every little suction cup, my tendrils feel the surface of barnacles, pearly protective shells, tender morsels of fishy sustenance. My 3 hearts pulse and beat, stressed by the anxious peering into the future, while the past lurks behind rocks and seaweeds. My 9
Ooh, Carla, it looks like you got muted again. I'm not sure what happened there. Let me click the ask to unmute button.
I'm so sorry. My hand hit. Where was I? What was the last thing you heard?
It was just a couple lines ago, I think, right when I
Okay.
said, yeah.
My nine brains contemplate the veracity of visions, vivid dreams, and voracious verse as I walk bipedal on the marine bed. Why so much intelligence for such a short life? Who will remember my cloud of ink? Thank you.
Well, we're all going to remember it, Carla, just so you know. There's the answer to that question for you. Um, uh, what's happening with you in poetry?
Well, I'm up in Bakersfield here, and believe it or not, we've got an email list of about 100 folks, and I led a workshop yesterday where we were inspired by paintings by Georgia O'Keeffe to write some poetry. So it was a really neat time, and I really are enjoying all of your poems today. Thank you so much to all of you.
I'm so pleased to know that cultural things are happening in Bakersfield, Carla, and that you're at the center of it there. I was up there a couple years ago. I went to the concert venue there to see a band play. Had a meal, and then I drove back through the Grapevine home to
Oh, that's a
Santa
long
Clarita.
drive.
Yeah, but it was worth it. But cool. Well, all right. Thank you for being here today, and good luck with everything that's happening up there.
Thank you, Rick.
Round of applause for Carla Martin. On deck, Seretta Martin. In between the Martin sandwich, please welcome Maggie. Hello, Maggie.
Hello, everybody. I'm Maggie Bloomfield. My last name's not up there. Anyway, my poem is called America 2025, The Last Concert. The tuba went mad, its bell grunting and dripping saliva, the noise so frightening brass followed suit. A bugle played taps for itself. Trumpets were dehorned, folded up, silenced. Slide trombones became mangled pipelines. Strangled saxes of every tenor could only bleat. The mellow woodwind sighed a last breath. Clarinets became as shy as piccolos. Cymbals and cymbals crashed. Even the bass drum could not hold a beat, faced with the belching tuba. No one could save the broken strings. Violins, violas, and cellos splintered. The guitars escaped to Portland. A little nose flute darted from instrument to instrument, trying to administer CPR. Some believed the bellowing tuba was funny in parades or on reality TV till all that hot air imploded. The whole ensemble death rattled, then blew up like Mount St. Helen, leaving a singed and empty band shell where the world's greatest orchestra once played. Thank you.
Maggie, that was so much fun. Every line was great. Right from the beginning, the tuba went mad, which is quite extraordinary because I think tubas begin mad, so to see the progression there, the guitars escape to Portland, fantastic. I'm, reminded of Behind Maggie. There's a guitar on the wall. It looks like she got one of them before it got all the way north. So, cool. Really fun poem. Thank you for bringing that to us. What's happening with you in poetry?
Okay, this is my first time here. I live on Long Island, in New York, and I have two chapbooks that are published. But I co-host a poetry venue called Poetry Street, the last Saturday of every month. It's a hybrid. So I'm putting the information in the chat in case any of you want to tune in. The last Saturday of this month, we have 3 features and an open mic. And in August, Rick will be featuring. So you'll certainly want to tune in then. It's really a pleasure to be here this afternoon and to hear all these wonderful poets. I hope that you will respond to my chat and join us at Poetry Street. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to that. And I hope you come back again to our space and read more because we need to find out what happened afterwards. You know what I'm saying? It was like one of those things where the astronauts came back to the planet and instead of people. It was all, conscious instruments. I don't know where you're going with this, but we hope to find out. Maggie, thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to the reading in August as well. Thanks for the invitation, and thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Maggie. On deck, Daniel Lambert. Please welcome Seretta Martin. Hello, Seretta.
Hello, I'm in a bit of a pneumonia fog, and I thought I was attending the Holocaust reading. So maybe that's at another time, Rick, you can let me know. But my voice is a little squeaky, but I decided I would read something from my childhood. I don't often write about it, but sometimes something funny will come along to my mind. This was Spaghetti When It Rains. My childhood love of puddles. Told to stay inside at recess this rainy day, I pressed my nose against a steamy window, watching puddles form. After school, I slosh in red rubber boots, find puddles full of pollywogs and earthworms, bodies twisting, swirling through pools of clouds. Knee-deep, I bend to pluck a slippery worm from the water just before it reaches the mouth of the storm drain. Then I hold it like spaghetti, one end in each hand, stretch it until it splits in 2. Not able to tell heads from tails, I drop both pieces and marvel as parts squiggle away in different directions. Trees, clouds, and birds watch me divide 2 worms from one. Not all childhood experiments so cleverly defy the mystery of death.
Great poem, great assessment at the end of that poem. Really enjoyed it. Thank you, Seretta. What's happening with you?
Well, I've been working on a new book called Dove Crossing, trying to figure out what kind of cover I need for Dove Crossing. Sometimes I start with the cover, but it didn't work that way this time. And it has poems about family, neighbors, strange people, and strange me when I was a child. And I'm still teaching at the Oasis Learning Center, which is all over the nation. For those of you that don't know about it, it's a learning center for people over 50. And I have between 10 and 18 adult students that are really dedicated to what they're doing. So we have a lot of fun. I feel blessed to be one of them. I don't really think of myself as a teacher, but as one of the group. So thank you.
Thank you, Seretta, very much. I'm glad you're still teaching and all that is going well. You're the second person to ask about the Holocaust poetry reading, which got me thinking that that somewhere out there it says that there was going to be one because there actually isn't anything scheduled or planned or I thought even stated that anything like that was going to happen. The entirety of the project is the publication online. So I apologize if it says somewhere that there was going to be an event, a live event, but because there isn't. but I really appreciate your participation in that project as well, and as well as for being here today anyway.
Thank you. I will host one if you want me to. You do so much hosting, it's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, well, it's quite an extra ordeal that I don't have the time to take on right now,
Right.
but I appreciate the desire, and thank you again for being here and for participating in that. A round of applause for Seretta Martin. Thank you, Seretta.
Thanks.
On deck is me to close out the open reading. Please welcome now Daniel Lambert. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Rick. So thank you for letting me read at the last minute. And this poem is about people that passed away last year that were very talented and somewhat famous. It's called Club 2025. Don't mourn me, don't cry for me. I'm only visiting Club 2025 for a short time. I dance here every night. I dance to Steelers Wheel with Michael Madsen. He wears a long-sleeve white shirt and a 9mm automatic handgun in a concealed carry rig. Sometimes I sit in a red movie theater chair and listen to Rebecca Del Rio sing a Roy Orbison song, a cappella in Espanol. Rebecca wears a red flower in her hair and a glittering teardrop under one eye. Her voice brings tears to my eyes. Not glitter, but the real thing. David Lynch directs the scene from an overhead rig, a Panavision camera whirring at his side, a cigarette burning between his fingers, a smile on his face. Sometimes Club 2025 hosts artists from other clubs. Roy Orbison from Club 1988 was here just the other night to watch Rebecca sing his song. One night I danced to slide jazz belted by Amy Winehouse, who is contracted to Club 2011. Christine McVie sat in the corner and accompanied Amy on piano. Then Christine sang one of her own tunes, asking why and begging her ex-lover not to give up on their love. Christine ended her song early because she had to get back to Club 2022. It's a shame, really. Her piano went so well with Amy's voice. Don't mourn me, don't cry for me. I'm only visiting Club 2025 for a short time. I'm here for the music. Thank you.
Music is everything, Daniel. Thank you so much for sharing that. I hope we can all get wristbands to get into the club there with you as well. What's happening with you in poetry?
Well, another thank you to you, Rick, for you showcased me about a year ago in my city of Inglewood, which maybe is not as well known as the city that surrounds it, Los Angeles. But I have a book of short stories out there on Amazon called The Mere Anarchy. Yates's title, not my title, but I also have a book of poetry called Love and Other Diversions that you can find on Amazon. And like I said before, I'm a teacher, and that is occupying my time pretty much more than poetry right now. But I have the occasional honor to write a poem.
That's cool. I've heard of Inglewood, just so you know. I think I was Inglewood adjacent yesterday when I was in El Segundo, picking up my wife from the airport. And of course, there are many wonderful performance venues in Inglewood as well. So, you're on the map as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you made it here today. Please come back and read again. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank
Round of
you.
applause for Daniel Lambert. Looks like before I read, Sam would like to read. So Sam Harty, you are up.
Thank you. Sorry for the confusion. I thought I had said I wanted to read, and I guess I'd forgotten to. Normally this camera doesn't work, but I had to pull the camera out from a tripod position so you could see me. Anyway, so I'll just read this poem. and get out of y'all's way. It's called Invisible. You say I'll be bored, that you can't give me enough, that your life is too full, too messy, too much for me to want. But you don't see me. You don't see how I ache just to stand in your kitchen, just to sit on your balcony while your kids run through the house, while the kettle whistles, while the day is nothing but ordinary. You don't see that I would fly halfway around the world just to hug you, just to fold your laundry, to hear your son say, "Harty, Harty," to fall asleep to the sound of your living room TV playing Turkish news in the next room. You think I want something from you, but all I want is you, uncurated, unfiltered, real. You don't see me, not the way I see you, beautiful in your chaos, worthy in your fatigue, enough, always enough. And it hurts me because I'm here, 6,000 miles away, heart open, hands empty, waiting to be let in. And you won't even open the door. Thank you.
Sam, thank you. I'm so glad we got to hear that. Great piece. Some tangible longing in there. Where are you reading to us from?
About an hour and a half out of New Orleans, Louisiana. I've been here before, but it's been a while. And right now I'm staying busy because I'm doing the Stafford Challenge. So I've been doing that for like a year and 4 months, and that's to write a poem every day for a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it keeps you busy.
Putting National Poetry Month on its own to shame, you know.
Last year I did a poem a day for a year, and then in April I did 2 poems a day, but I'm way too busy right now to do that. I'm barely keeping up.
Well, that's quite a challenge you've set for yourself. So kudos to you for sticking with it, and glad we got to hear your poem today. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Sure. Round of applause for Sam Harty. Thank you, Sam. I'm going to close out the evening with this poem that I wrote. You may or may not know, I write a poem responding to the text of the Torah that we're supposed to read every week, trying to figure out what it has to do with me. And this year, I've been taking a look at the title of the text, the Hebrew title, and responding specifically in my poem to where that title sends me. In this case, the title of the text is the Hebrew word for eight, and there's a bunch of laws listed in the text, and so I decided I would write 8 little sections referring to various laws that show up in the Torah this week. The poem is called 8 Laws. 1. Priests must not drink wine or strong drink before entering the tent of meeting. I am not a priest, but I also wait until I enter a place of meeting before I tie one on. 2. Wave a ram's breast in the air in the direction of the one. It's one of the things they're into and will lead them to your favor. 3. If you're going to a funeral, comb your hair. 4. If it has hooves, it doesn't go in your mouth. 5. You may eat 4 kinds of locusts. Locusts may seem exotic and not be pleasing to your tongue, so note it is not a requirement to eat them, but if you do, make sure your locust selection is from the approved list. 6. Eat your vegetables. Actually, that's not one of them, but I put it in case any kids are watching. 7. You may have to destroy your plates, especially earthenware, if something untoward touches them. This law was not sponsored by the earthenware industry. 8. Above all, be holy, know right from wrong, lest you burst into flames like the two emboldened ones. Alrighty. As always, if you hear me read a poem from the Torah, it does count as Torah study, and I'm happy to sign the paper that you can show to your rabbi to let you know that you're taken care of this week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Fantastic reading. Great to hear so many different people reading so many different kinds of poems today. Thank you, Isabell, Eric, Rosemary, Bhavin, Lawrence, Jordan, Patrice, Climbing Sun, Trish, Scott, Carla, Maggie, Seretta, Daniel, and Sam. Really appreciate that you guys were here. I want to mention that our next reading will be Sunday, May 3rd. I think that's 3 weeks away, so it's a little sooner than the 4 or 5 that typically happen, but that's just how the calendar's working out for me. So save Sunday, May 3rd at 2 p.m. for the next Poetry Superhighway Live reading. As a reminder, it's National Poetry Month. We're publishing a prompt a day on our website as well as on our Facebook page. If you happen to write a poem for one of these prompts and you would like to, you can post it as a comment to that prompt on the to that prompt's post on the Facebook page, so you can get some interaction and feedback from other people who are doing the same thing and see what other people are doing. Other than that, I hope everyone is good and having a good Poetry Month. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to click on the Ask All to Unmute in case you want to say hi to each other before we shut this thing down.
Thanks for reading with us.
Thank you so much. This was delightful.
Yes.
It was. Have a great week.
Delightful hearing all of you. Yes, have a
Thanks,
great
folks.
week.
Okay.
Bye.
This is my first time here, so thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for coming, Daniel.
Yeah. Yeah.
My pleasure.
Good to hear all your voices. Rick, where is the prompt posted?
The prompts are posted on the Poetry Superhighway website. If you look
okay.
on the upper right-hand corner below the header, the daily prompt is there. If you go to the special projects menu, you can see all of the ones that have been posted this year and in past years, and they're also posted in the Facebook group every night at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern.
Great. Thanks for the details.
Sure.
Thank you, Rick, for all your hard work.
Okay.
Yes, and for your sense of humor. You always make me laugh.
Thank
Thanks
you, Rick.
to everybody. Yes, I'm really thrilled to be back. And I am impressed too with the different kinds of poems that we heard today.
Okay.